Today we're talking about some of the biggest construction sites you definitely need to be aware of and maybe avoid when you make your trip or live here in Northwest Arkansas. So let's talk about that. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. If you weren't aware, I actually was a real estate broker located in the dumpster fire, the horrible, the hellscape, also known as Illinois, also known as Chicago. The worst. Anyways, I was a real estate broker out in Chicago and I started to look for the best place to live in America. So I started looking at all across America. Huntsville, Alabama, Carolinas, Colorado, Boise, Phoenix, you name it. I've probably been there or researched to try to find the best place to live in America. And by far the best place to live in America, that's a mouthful, is Northwest Arkansas. So if you're going to talk about why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America, let's meet for coffee, let's talk on the phone, let's text message, whatever the case is, let's talk about why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America. Now, if you haven't been down to Northwest Arkansas quite yet, I made something called the NWA Starter Pack. Sounds exactly what it is. It's literally a starter pack full of all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on in downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Fayetteville? What are the schools like? What are the hospitals like? All the things you want to know about Northwest Arkansas, boop, 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 boop. Package, shipped right to your home, literally right to your home. Enter your name below, enter your address below, literally it's a package I ship right to your home. So enter your information below, I'll make sure to get that package shipped to you right away. Also, side note, it does come with your first free mountain bike, so that's pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking, It is my favorite four-letter F word. Free! So enter your information below, I'll make sure to get the package shipped to you right away. All right, and the first place you definitely need to be aware of when it comes to construction happening in Northwest Arkansas, this is the most obvious one, the elephant in the room, so to speak, is the whole 8th Street kind of Walmart center, HQ center over there. That is along on the east side of Bentonville. A lot of the roads are they're not shut down, but some actually 8th Street is shut down, which is kind of like the epicenter of Walmart HQ. And parts of it are shut down. There's other roads that are being redone. That's just been in the works for about, honestly, the majority of it has been the last 6 months. It is not shocking because Bentonville specifically overtook New York City as cranes per capita per person. So we still hold the record at the moment for that comparison to New York City. Shocking. So there's a lot of construction happening. I consider that they've actually done a good job of diverting traffic, making sure that it still flows well. Now, I came from Chicago where they'll put people out there and like make traffic stop and like just wait. That hasn't happened quite yet in Bentonville. It probably won't ever happen until they actually have to like go on the roads and do things and blah, 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 blah. But they are building one of the most massive campuses in the history of the world. So, you know, they're doing a pretty good job. But regardless, there's a lot of traffic happening over there, and there's a lot of construction happening over there, which kind of drives traffic back and forth, especially around that work time frame. Just be aware of that. But if you're coming down here and you're kind of visiting, don't be alarmed by it. Just go through there. You'll see the massive campus being built. 8th Street Market will be blocked off, and you'll see a couple roads being diverted in some fashion. Just know that it can get a little bit more blocked up in the 4:30 to 5:30 range, to say the least. And the second place with a lot of construction happening in Northwest Arkansas, and this is a very specific exit in Fayetteville, is known as Weddington Exit. So Weddington Exit is kind of the last exit before, MLK is the last exit, kind of the last exit before Fayetteville, like the Fayetteville exit. That's kind of the last one. Anyways, Weddington was kind of a disaster. When I first moved here, it was always just way too many people, way too many things. Like it was like a backup all the time. They are fixing it. It is going to be so much better. Actually, it's kind of better now than it was when I first moved here, when it was before construction. There was a time period when construction was like mid. Woo! That was a good time. I don't actually get off at Weddington Exit, so I don't use it that often. I actually use MLK, which is the next exit. So, regardless, Weddington Exit around this certain time frame gets a little fun, a little dicey. They're doing this like inverted European thing, I believe, where like they cross over and anyways. Yeah, so when it's all said and done, which will be towards the end of summer this year, it'll be much nicer, much better, and traffic will flow very freely because that is a high growth area for Fayetteville. Is that kind of like northwest side of Fayetteville, which is the Weddington exit. But regardless, little side note, little birdie told me that the next exit after Weddington will be MLK. Which is a bad exit too at the moment, but there's not a construction going on there. That's actually exit a lot of people get off for the university, for the the Razorback games and stuff, so that gets real fun real quick during those time frames. Regardless, that's the next exit they're going to be working on right after Weddington, so I will be prepared and ready for all that. But regardless, Weddington exit is a little bit dicey, a little bit fun, so good times over there. And before we jump on to the next point, I have something brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking to move to the area and using things like Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or Redfin. Way too slow. Notifications, way too slow. That's why I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is, literally Instant Home Updates. So enter your information below, name, square footage, bedroom, bathrooms. Where do you want to move to in Northwest Arkansas? That's kind of important. Let me know with all the information below. Make sure you don't miss a single notification when it comes for homes for sale or for rent, all in Northwest Arkansas. Also, side note, every single Friday I send an email out to just kind of talk about all the cool things in Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Fayetteville? What is going on in downtown Rogers? What's going on in the amphitheater? What's going on over at Bella Vista? What's going on over? There are so many things. One of the Razorbacks playing. So many things all the time. All the time. Enter your email below. I'll get that email out to you every single Friday. But sadly, side note, you will get a little fear of missing out, little FOMO, so to speak. But I promise you will be the most informed person eventually when you make your way down to Northwest Arkansas. And the third construction site you need to be aware of when it comes to Northwest Arkansas is the Bella Vista bridges. There's actually 2 bridges being worked on over in Bella Vista, both on the west side and east side. And what's happened is that basically they were making the bridges wider. One of them on the east side is pretty much done, and the west side is still being worked on. They have to like re-divert a road and a whole thing, so they got some time on that thing. But the west one is probably which is if you're coming north of Bella Vista over on the west side. It's a little bit more dicey because there's like 4 or 5 roads that intersect at the same time. So it kind of gets a little weird coming in and out of there, the whole thing. So regardless, it gets a little fun, gets a little dicey. The east one is done. That was a lot better, to say the least. But the west one that they're still working on gets a little interesting. It's almost like if you're going to take a left on something, that's going to be a real good time, to say the least. So luckily there's enough pathway you can get left and then have someone take a right at the same time. So regardless, especially in the time frame, it might be a little bit easier to honestly to take a right, loop back around and head up that way. So anyways, long story short, there's a little bit more work to be done on the bridges. I know that they're planned on being done this year, but don't quote me on that. I think they said fall of this year on the west bridge. The east bridge is, I think, pretty much buttoned up for the most part. But anyways, the west bridge is definitely something to be a little bit wary of when you're heading over to Bella Vista. And the fourth and final construction site you definitely need to be aware of when happening in Northwest Arkansas for traffic purposes is the Pinnacle Rogers area. Now this only really started probably like 3 months ago. Pinnacle Rogers has added, probably 4 months ago honestly, has actually added a bunch of roundabouts, have redone all sorts of roads around Pinnacle Rogers. Like if you go there, it literally looks like you're driving through spaghetti. You're like, because roundabouts are blocked off. You can't go here, you can't go there, you can't go here. It gets a little crazy. Follow the detour signs. But if you are around Pinnacle Rogers towards like the Topgolf and down towards like the Ruth Chris Steak area, all of that area is being redone. There's a new hotel going in there, new parking garages, new whole things up there. So all that's being redone so that traffic flows smoothly, so they can avoid stoplights, which I always appreciate. And so it's all being redone over there. It looks like they're moving really quick. Like I'm talking very fast. So I imagine that this project will be wrapped up in like summertime, maybe late, early fall-ish. So it'll all be buttoned up pretty quick. Every time I'm there, which I'm there like daily, they're always changing things around. I think they work during night or something. I don't know. But every time I go there, they're like, oh my gosh, so much has been done. So regardless, I don't think it will be around for too long, but I know that they'll be buttoned up here pretty soon. Just know that if you are there in the next like 6 months or so, it'll be a little bit more spaghetti happening around that area. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you are thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itineraries linked below. Maybe you're a adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids, whatever it is. There's a 3-day itinerary linked down below for you, so go ahead and download it and use it, get down here. Also, when you do come down here, I can give you a $10 tour so I can show you around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some homes for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar will go in Northwest Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, let's see the next one.